wearing some boots right now, and it doesn't feel too slick. That's because it's back down to a steady kind of rain out here this morning. And on top of that, I have seen several, about almost a dozen at this point, plows coming down here on Grape Road. This is actually a hit-and-run accident. Apparently, the man was on his way to work riding his bicycle, headed south here on County Road 17 when he was hit by a car. That car took off. Police now looking for clues. Police say Carlo Calabrese bonded out here around 3:45. He was arrested and booked here at the St. Joseph County Jail around 12:30. Now, as for quarterback Tommy Reese, things are looking a lot more serious since he does face a felony charge. Now, get this, a gas station employee here at the 7-Eleven tells me he was working, and when he heard the accident, he rushed out to do everything he could to help and actually pulled people out of the cars. The suspect did know the victim, and they can't exactly say how the victim died here this morning, how the woman died, but they are officially calling it a homicide, and the death, of course, appears suspicious. One victim was shot in the chest. That victim is in stable condition this morning. The second victim was shot in the hip, and police say the bullet traveled through his body, and he's now in critical condition. Police are still trying to figure out exactly what happened, but witnesses say they saw two cars flying down Corby Boulevard, and one lost control and then slammed right into the house here. Now, friends, family, and neighbors are trying to wrap their heads around this sad and crazy accident.
My heart goes out to the family. My heart really goes out to the family.
Michelle Cephas says she's in awe, angry about the scene that unfolded right across the street from her house early this morning.
When I ran down the street, it was nothing but a big puff of smoke.
Underneath all of the rubble, firefighters found the body of Barbara Knapp, but it was so badly damaged they couldn't get a positive ID for hours. We know the 57-year-old lived here alone with her two dogs. One pup was missing, but later reunited with Knapp's son. Sadly, the other dog died.
When they brought that dog out, it was a big orange mango mess. It's unbelievable. And if the dog looked like that, oh my God. Oh my God.
It's tragic. The one place you ought to be safe is in your house. And to have this happen at this time of the night, it's sort of disheartening. It's sad. You should be safe in your house.
Sergeant Bill Krause says police are still interviewing witnesses and tracing the tire tracks. You can see some in the mud, etched deep into the grass of the front yard.
I'm not a structural engineer, but it took quite a bit of force to do that.
Now the house will come crashing down altogether, and McCaffrey is facing some serious charges.
You killed somebody. It's not right. It's not right at all.
Now, witnesses say drag racing may be involved, but officers are still investigating. Crews will be back here to finish demolishing the house early next week. In the meantime, Knapp's family and friends will continue to move her stuff out. In South Bend, Ashley Izbicki, ABC 57 News. There's a lot of excitement and anticipation here at the Aquatic Center. Swimmers I talked to say it's not just about making Team USA, but also about beating their personal best at a meet they'll never forget.
We've been kind of training like professional athletes.
We're ready. I can tell that we're ready.
Freshman standouts Frank Dyer and Emma Reaney are putting everything they have into the water. Dyer's focusing on the 200 free. And for Reaney, it's all about the 200 individual medley. But this isn't her first time training for the trial.
When I walked in being that young and just like it's a spectacle. They put on a show, that's for sure.
At just 15 years old, Reaney swam her heart out to try and make the 2008 USA team.
I was a little starstruck as a 15-year-old, so walking in it was a little overwhelming. But I just think now I'll know the ropes, I'll know where to go, and it'll, be a little bit easier this time around.
I have goosebumps just talking about it because there's no better place in America to be than Omaha, Nebraska.
Head coach Brian Barnes says he's keeping the women's team focused on swimming the way they've never swam before.
A lot of the athletes who make the Olympic team who weren't projected to make the Olympic team take the risk to do so.
And for the standout sophomores, it's all about risk, ambition, and courage. With each stroke, turn and breath.
Best times are definitely a hope. Winning heats and then maybe semis. Making it back to semis would be really awesome.
This is going to be a big meet in USA swimming history. Really one of the most exciting times of our life, and we'll remember it for a long time.
Now, roughly 20 swimmers from the Notre Dame teams will be competing against stars like Michael Phelps. starting June 25th in Omaha. They say there's no better place to be in the days leading up to 4th of July than with the best swimmers in the country competing for a spot on Team USA. Reporting at the University of Notre Dame, Ashley Izbicki, ABC 57 News. Two men, 17 and 19 years old, were shot near this intersection this morning. The crime scene tape is now gone, but marks of evidence are still on the ground. And for the woman who lives here, it's another nightmare right in her front yard.
The car comes up, just pow, 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 pow.
Michelle Shepard was asleep early this morning when this scene unfolded right outside of her house.
The guys that actually got shot, I know all three of them.
She says they were leaving a party and walking down California Street when the gunfire erupted.
So I see this black car come down the street here, and I hear gunshots. Two, then like three more go off. And I heard the guy say, "I've been hit, I've been hit, I've been shot."
She rushed around the corner to find a 17-year-old lying on the ground, covered in blood.
We couldn't tell where he was shot at. He was just bleeding furiously out the mouth and his nose. He couldn't even respond to anything.
Metro homicide detectives were at the scene for hours. Investigators marked the blood spots on the ground. You can still see the bright orange paint.
He was falling, he was losing consciousness. So his friend grabbed him and he fell over here. This is where he fell, his body lay here.
And he wasn't the only victim. A 19-year-old also got hit with a bullet and ran down Allen Street.
4 or 5 houses down, shot also. Where was the police at?
That's the same question Shepard asked nearly 2 years ago when she was shot on her own front porch.
2 boys started shooting and shot me. I got shot in the right leg.
Crime scene tape is still tied around the railing on her back porch. She says now she's paranoid and always warns her neighbors to be careful.
It's scary, and I just wish they would do something.
Now, police say this double shooting might be connected to the shootings at the Century Center last weekend, since one of the victims was at that teen dance. Shepard says it all comes down to unresolved problems between groups of friends, and it needs to stop. In South Bend, Ashley Izbicki, ABC 57 News.